that there are rewards. There's a little story called The Little Red Hen, and everybody helps break. There's the people that bake the bread and they get to eat it. And then there's all the people that don't want to bake the bread. They don't want to take all the steps and do all the things. They just want to show up at the end and get the spoils, and they don't get it. And they're bummed about it. And so don't be bummed about it if you're not going to do the work. And if there's little things that pop up like Friend Tech and you want to run over and get some free bread, then get it while the getting's good, because it's going to go away real quick. And you won't have shit to show for it after, once the sandcastles are gone. So, all right, that's my rant. We got a hand. We've got a hand. We've got Wolven NFT. Oh boy, I'm walking into this blind. I didn't even check you out. Good, you got more than 100.
Hey, what up, man? Yeah, you didn't make a mistake because I'm not gonna, get up here and do anything crazy. I was just compelled to speak because I didn't even plan to get on Twitter today, but I saw the title and I was pulled in. But yeah, I agree with a lot you're saying. And just to give a context, I came up with the idea for my particular sand castle sandbox I'm building before I even knew about NFTs. I wrote a movie based on the Ready Player One Doom world, and I wrote this movie before I even knew what an NFT was. And so just connecting the dots and being here, some odd years later, I agree with everything you're saying about the builders, and keep building. And so I'm building, and I appreciate you guys for having this space. And I was just trying to contribute some positivity because I like what y'all was talking about.
Hell yeah, I love that. I appreciate you for being here. We got other people that are up on the stage too, and I appreciate you guys for being here. Shauna just raised her hand, but Wolven, hey man, show up to these things, and I'd love to hear more about it. And like, for the people that want to show up and make friends, you should do that. For the people that want to show up and build things, you should do that. And I think at the end of the day, we're all in a race against ourselves. So it's kind of hard to not look around and be like, oh, that person just got this and that person just did that. Like, you're here against yourself. So like, you can make of it whatever you want. You don't have to put all your needs on it. And so just being here is a good deal for sure.
Yeah, can I say just one thing before I stop? Somebody else has their hand up. So when I'm saying this to possibly motivate somebody in the audience. When I wanted to come out with my project, 2 years ago, I didn't have an artist and so on and so forth. And I'm doing this from behind the wall. I'm in prison as well. So I didn't have an artist. And so now with AI, I'm able to bring stuff to life. And I've been in this space for the whole 2 years, since 21, whatever, when the pump was there. Like I said, I'm in prison, I'm behind the wall, and I'm just trying to give everybody inspiration that you can do it too, no matter where you're at in life. Because, even before NFTs, I was a storyteller. And, so storytellers have a place in my heart. And my goal is 100 videos, so I got like 97 more videos. If you look on my page, I just posted the 3 I made recently, but 97 more videos with no expectations other than telling my story. But yeah, that's what's up. I love y'all, and that's all.
That's dope. Hey, thank you for joining and thank you for sharing that. Like, I was gonna give you some shit about what your background noise sounded like, and you said you're in prison. I'm like, fuck, I better not say anything. I'm an asshole. My guy's showing up and doing way above and beyond what's probably the bar in the situation. So it goes to show, we're all trying to better ourselves and do more and more things, and we're here in a race against ourselves. So fucking thank you for contributing. That was super dope. Ice, Melina, any thoughts or words? And we're gonna go to Shauna after that.
Well, I was just gonna say, I was like, this guy is the exact reason why I always keep saying that you don't really need anything. You just need to figure out a way that makes sense for you, because I think a lot of creators get stuck on this idea of seeing their idolized or their favorite content creator or their favorite person that they're seeing on social media. And what this person just showed us is, even behind bars, he has figured out a way to share his message. And I think this is such a great reminder that the only thing getting in the way of you doing what it is you think you're gonna do is yourself, is what's going on in here, because there are no obstacles. There are loopholes to everything. There are ways to figure it out. And you know, like that, what's that movie with Will Smith and his little son?
Pursuit of Happiness.
Yes. But you see that journey, and everything was like the mental in his head. He was like, I know I'm going to get there. I know. It's like the belief system. And that is something that I'm like teaching right now with my creators, is that everything that's stopping you is what, you know, what mom says, what my brother thinks, what is my husband going to think? What is everyone going to think? Like, it doesn't matter. You have to figure out a way to do what it is you want to do. And you're going to figure it out, because when you really want it, and even when you're behind bars, and I could add that into my little talk there, even when you're behind bars, there is a way. So yeah, that was just inspirational. I had to point that out.
100 to that. Thank you for coming up and sharing that, Welvin.
Thanks for the kind words.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to the next speaker. She is basically my my sister from another mother at this point. So let us welcome Shauna to the stage. Shauna, are you there?
Yes. Hi, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Come and first say hi to you, Ice Oppa. It's nice to speak to you on stage finally, because we interact a lot on Twitter or X. And Salamander, I met you on Threads, but I call you M. Was your name on Threads M? I don't know, but I guess I'll call you Salamander now.
Apparently her name is Ange, but we're now none of us are allowed to call her that, thanks to Chris. Jeez,
Yeah, you get it right. Literally one last try, and killing your friend tech shares to 0.
Yeah. And the real reason I came up here was to shed some light on Frontech, since I've been using it since day one. It launched with an airdrop tab, which is like the main hype, I think. And they also made an announcement that they're partnered with Paradigm. So I think most people that are on there are just trying to farm points for the airdrop. And people are speculating that it will be lucrative. And the invite codes are listed right on the airdrop tab. And that's why you see invite codes dropped everywhere, because people want to get them used. I do believe that the tech is pretty cool, and it allows us to know what is possible with monetizing social and creator value, and making that on chain and using Web3 to do it is exciting, being in Web3. And you always have to show people what's possible for them to be able to see it. And I think they did well on that front. And having a decentralized social media on chain like Noster, but more with like a viral and easier user experience is something that I'm looking forward to, just because currently we spend so much time building our personal brands and our audience on X. This space is about doing that specifically, and it serves a good purpose and goal for us to follow for now. But I think it's important to keep in mind that X can rug you at any time from your account, your username, your audience. I know a lot of people who lost their accounts for no reason, and they had to start over. So I don't think that a centralized company is the future for content creators in the long run. And while I also don't believe Frontech is the answer, I think it was a good show and a good stride, and shows us what's possible when you incorporate Web3.
I love, first of all, thank you for coming on to speak with us, Shauna. It's a pleasure hearing you for the first time as well. And yes, I absolutely do agree. I think in terms of, first of all, in terms of a building on rented space, let's talk about that first, because you mentioned, yes, Twitter, X, any kind of social media platform can rug you of the audience that you've been building and cultivating over all these years. And that is why it's like we talk about this almost every single space, but to be able to extract your core audience and bring them out onto a personalized platform, whether that is a friend tech or whether that is a newsletter, I think this is a very important step, because if push comes to shove and we do lose access to all of our friends on a certain platform, what are we going to do then? Are we going to go on Facebook and try to pull everyone together? No, you're not. You're going to need to have something in the back going. You're going to, people that have done their homework leading up to this point are absolutely going to be in a more advantageous position. And that kind of leads into the second thing that you spoke of, which is you said that this platform is likely not going to be the future of content creation. And I do, I'm like 50-50 on that. I think it has a lot of potential just because Elon is a huge competitor to Google and he wants to take Google down. So I know he's going to give it his all in order to make this happen. But on the flip side, I really do think, yeah, like if we don't own our content, then what is the content that we're putting out to the internet? Like once we fire it up, it's nothing but a backup into our hard drive. So how do we truly own that? How do we truly own that content at the end of the day? And to your final point, I do agree with you. I don't think friend tech is the future that's going to lead that innovation, but I do think that they are bringing us closer to that future because they're helping us identify what works and what doesn't. So thank you for coming on stage, Sean, and thank you for really breaking it down for Chris and I, because we got no idea what we're talking about apparently when it comes to friend tag. So it's great that we got a pro up here that can finally shed some light on the topic. And while all that craziness was happening, we got another guy on stage, Mr. Moonpies. Wait a second. I think you're perfect. You're here.
1 second, Shauna, remember me when you are a millionaire / billionaire / trillionaire.
Now, hold up, girl. You called my name. The stage is mine. You're going to have to settle down now, all right? We're going to push P real quick and retweet the room. I hope everyone's having a good day, smoking a bowl of crack, whatever it is that pleases your way. Now, I just wanted to say that friend tech is like the tulip mania. In 3 months, no one's going to remember why we even have it. The bigger accounts are just showing it so they can make their trading volume. And, yeah, it's a great way to stay in shape. But it's not, we're going to need more than that, all right? We're gonna need to get past this. And we're going to click the link in my bio so you can mint the Pepe wrap. It's the hottest one on the blockchain. It's bigger than Clay Aiken. We're smoking dope. We're trying to keep it true to the holders, and yeah, it's a great way to stay in shape.
It totally reminded me of my boy Eddie, who you might know as Lofo. Man, this guy had the funniest little thing back when Goblin Town was rolling, and he'd show up and he'd just give you the full-on hobo voice. It was a good time. Hey,
he reminded me of Rex Burgundy.
Pays half the rent. All right, he puts in where we grow a marijuana farm with growing spores and mushrooms. So if y'all need albino Louisianas, fuck the feds, hit my DM.
Okay, well, there's your free shill for the day, everybody. I did want to actually comment a little bit though on what Shauna was talking about before and about the whole idea of rented space and all of this. It's hard. It's hard to do this. I want to actually hear from Melina on this because I've talked with her a lot about doing things like courses or memberships or different things like that, where like you have your own list of people. And if you're like our boy Gentle Tornado and you're just kicking ass and spreading positivity, there's no rule that says they can't lift you off your feet with a firm kick to the nuts and just ditch your account. Like you're gone. Same thing goes for, I know we're talking about X and Elon and what he's pumping in here and like taking on Google. Let's talk about Google. They have a product called YouTube. There were people who had giant teams back. This was like 2018. One of the best things that you could do to generate a ton of money was you could have these accounts that were focused on things like toys and things aimed at kids, right? And so you had these teams where they would have a building and multiple employees and all this overhead and all of this production that went into making these videos. And you'd have like crazy amounts of effort and time and money and just like, month after month, things that you had to pay for just to have those channels. Those channels generated like 100K, 200K, 500K a month. And so they were profitable, right? And then all at once, there was a change that happened and it went all the way across the internet, not just Google, not just, Twitter or whatever. And that change said that if you were making content specifically aimed at kids, there was something that hadn't been followed, a rule, a law that hadn't been followed for a long time. And it wasn't a big deal until now there's giant industries for a decade that have been just kind of exploiting this loophole that allowed them to more or less print money because so many kids, of course, they can't not watch your channel that's got all these cool toys and the cool voices and all this stuff. and people were running ads against that, and it was exploiting the attention of kids. And so they came in and they said, all right, no more, we're turning it off. If you are doing that, your income will now come from 10% of what you were making before. So imagine that you've got these huge ass teams and you're on Google and everything's good to go and you've built this empire, and then one move comes through and it wipes out a whole industry. Forget you, it's everybody like you. And if you didn't follow that new rule that they put in place, the smack on the wrist for each violation of it was over $40,000 per instance. So imagine you start marking your videos as not for kids because you've been really exploiting the attention of people for so long, and it wasn't even looked at as a bad thing. But those little changes, even if you are a content creator on a big platform at the highest level, like if you don't own your audience, if you don't have that list of people and you're not serving them outside of the platform, just like all those people that got kind of just shit canned basically, because you can't stay in business if you can't afford what you've been doing, or you get kicked off the platform like GT or so many things. It's hard. So that was a big ass. Sorry, I Sanzonitis over here. Melina, how is it to build your own list and actually to go after starting to build your own audience somewhere off platform? Is it easy? Because the things Friend Tech seems like it makes it easy, but I don't think that anybody actually owns any of that. So how is it when you do own it? Is it difficult?
I mean, difficult. It's only difficult because no one's teaching this. It's only difficult because no one's going online and telling you, hey, you're a content creator, but you actually are a business owner, because what you're doing is a business. So it's almost as if you were launching a product. Let's say you were selling candles and you had to go set up an LLC and figure out, how am I going to get payment, right? And I think for a lot of creators too, we're still in this mindset of, well, I'm going to do this for a retweet. I'm going to do this for exposure. But the reality is exposure and retweets don't pay my bills, right? And Chris and I have had these conversations for over a year. It's like, and I agree. Was it Salaman? And it was, what was her name? Oh my God.
Shauna.
She was saying how, she doesn't even think X will be the platform. I go beyond X. I go all of these platforms. Like when people ask me, where should I be on? I always say, start with what you can do without burning out. But the real answer is you should be on every single platform, because like I said 3 weeks ago, or maybe even 4, it's at this point, life is going too fast. I had very high conviction that Threads would be something. Maybe not tomorrow, right? But maybe in 6 months from now, Daddy Elon is going to say something and a lot of people are going to say, I'm going to go take this content and throw it on Threads. So my stance is always go where you can, but you have to know that whether you're on X, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, if you don't own, and what I mean by own is if you don't set up either a newsletter or get your community's phone numbers, that is what is potentially hindering your business right now. Because a lot of the times, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but if your favorite influencer gets blocked from Twitter, and GT is the perfect example, because when I saw this happen, I thought to myself, I hope he has still found a way to reach to his audience. Like I hope that he figured out a way to do that before getting blocked. The reason why I say this is because the day that it happens to you, I can guarantee you that even your favorite fan is not going to go on Instagram and say, let me see if GT set up a business here. They won't do that. It's not a reflex, right? Just like we still have to tell people, link is in the bio, drop your comment. Like we still have to do that because we got to let people know, right? So I agree with you. And to answer your question, it's not that it's difficult. It's that it's not being taught, or it's not being showcased as like that should actually be your priority, rather than trying to monetize using X. Like I do not give a, I don't know about you. Are you monetized? I'm not monetizing, but you know what? I have figured out ways to make money without Elon paying me. So wouldn't we all want that more? Like that's just me, but I want to make sure that people have a way to reach me. People know that they can find me somewhere else. And if TikTok is banned in the US in a few months, because I'm hearing rumors, that doesn't faze me. That doesn't, it's not a sleepless night for me if TikTok is banned tomorrow, right? I have figured out ways that I'm on every platform without burning out. Like, I'm enjoying my afternoon this afternoon speaking to everyone here about content creation, but realizing that the most important asset is not your number of followers, it's the number of people you can reach when everything dies down. That's where the real value is.
Bars. That's
Thank
what
you,
I would say if I was 20. I'd say bars.
I was gonna say bet, but I don't even know what that means. But no, thank you, Melina. Wow, that is actually a ton of information that you just gave us. So thank you so much. So for people in the audience, myself included, so I actually just started the newsletter journey because we've been talking about, we got to get people like into our personal communication circles. So for someone that is newer to the content creation world, whether they're on Instagram, YouTube, or X, for people that are in that boat looking to start their newsletter, what is the one piece of advice that you would give for an aspiring content creator in that situation, Melina?
Their piece of advice, like how to start the newsletter?
Mm-hmm.
So what I've been giving, so all the creators in my hub are all coming from different avenues. It's not necessarily NFTs. Some of them are photographers. Some of them are selling products, right? What I always say in terms of like newsletter, it's kind of it has to already fit like your target audience. So if you're into Web3, what I've noticed, and Chris, you can tell me if I'm wrong, or, in reality, there's no wrong answer. Choose a newsletter that either fits your budget, fits with the look that you're trying to go for, and the audience that you're trying to go for. I've used Substack for right now. I am going to be completely transparent. I'm planning to leave Substack and do something else because I'm looking at kind of pre-batching my newsletters and sort of turning them into, let's not call it a funnel, but I want to guide my creators in different systems, right? Substack does not allow me to do that. But Substack is great for someone in Web3 because everyone in crypto loves Substack. I cannot tell you how many people recommend my newsletter because it's crypto related within Substack itself. So if your target audience is crypto, NFTs, I would say Substack. It's done wonders for me. I think NFT God is also on Substack. So, if you, again, look at who your audience is, but there's so many great ones. Beehive is another great one. MailChimp is pretty decent. Like, there's so many. The goal with the newsletter is making sure that you're nurturing it and it's related to the content that you're already putting out, right? It's not like, hey, follow me on Twitter, I'm about NFTs, and then your newsletter is about cutting, flowers, and you're like, I'm all about like landscape, right? Like, it has to go, but you need to have like a purpose with the newsletter too, right? Like, there needs to be some sort of call to action, I would say. But even if you're starting with 10 emails is better than no emails if it means that X deletes your account.
Totally. That's
Perfect.
a big one.
Yep.
Yeah, I have no idea on the whole writing side of things. I've done blogs, I've done newsletters on my site, and people that have, they'll automatically get the newsletter and all that. Gob, we're totally going to go to you in a second too, by the way. I'm sorry. but I just know this, that I don't want to wake up and write. Like, that's not how I actually really enjoy writing. I love creative writing. I write the way that I speak, so it's very natural to me. I'm here for it, but that's not my strong suit. That's not my superpower, that I write and I can, connect with people with words or lay it out and break it down into little chunks and like have a format. Like, that ain't my shit. But I do have something that does work, and all I did is make that and this is, I guess, taboo language, but that's my top of funnel. I can show you how to do shit that's complicated and make it sound easy and not intimidating. And I do that on video. And so I think if you're somebody who can attract an audience and serve them in a certain way, that another way that you could say that is nurture that audience, then you could show up the way that's natural to you. All I want to say is that it's talking about it like we are right now is not sexy. It is not the thing that people want to show up for. They want to show up for, I can shit post and then join some new thing that popped up, 8 seconds ago, and grab an armful of cash and then dip out and then go find the next thing. And that's fine if you want to take opportunities to do that and go get yours here and there. But there's peaks and troughs, and the content creator life looks like the crypto charts. It's great. It's up and then down, up and then down. So you're just crushing one month and you give yourself all this credit. I'm so smart. I'm so good at my videos. People love me, blah, blah, blah. And then the next month, you're like, God, I don't even know if I should be doing this. Do people even want to hear from me? You have all this weird self-talk that happens. And then inevitably somebody comes through and they're like, man, I just looked at your stuff. You're amazing. I can't believe you don't have a bigger account or blah, blah, blah. Do you want to work with me? Do you want to do this? You get these opportunities and you're back on top of the world. That shit does not stop. That is absolutely ongoing forever because you're finding people that have never heard of you until that day. And sometimes that content goes viral and it takes off, and sometimes you're flat for a long time and you doubt yourself. But either way, if you don't have any of these like kind of middle ground things like that email list or that way to connect with your audience, then you're literally at the mercy of the platform and you're just being tossed around and yo-yoed. And it's literally not emotionally safe. It is such a and it's lonely as fuck. No one knows what you're talking about. If you, God forbid, you should complain about this being difficult. It's one of the coolest things you could ever do. It's also ungodly difficult to make sense of it as you're in it. So Ice, host privilege, and then we're gonna go to God. Let's go.
Sweet. It's awesome being in the host seat. Sorry, Gav. but yeah, we will get to you, Gav. I promise. Just want to quickly wrap up everything that Chris and Melina just put out, like because this is such beautiful, beautiful content. First of all, I wanted to just to say something to Melina. Like she said something about earlier about having a purpose to your newsletter that is pertinent to your brand, and I can't stress how important that is. Because just because you have a newsletter, with the moment that you start selling them on other information that is completely off-brand, people are going to be confused. And that is why when people are trying to chase after influencers' clout right now, as opposed to building your own brand, that to me is a no-no, because we talk about this every space as well. When these guys stop posting, when these guys get their accounts taken away, what is your brand? Are you like you're just shit posting after these guys tweet? So if they stop tweeting, then what have you got left, right? You really don't have much left. So that's why, and we actually saw this happen before too. Remember a couple of months ago when meme coins were all the rage, and all of a sudden one or two good calls turn absolute zero follower people into the quote unquote shit coin influencers and like alpha callers, and they felt great for the 2-3 weeks that it lasted. But then when shit coins fell off the cliff, what happened to these guys? A lot of them disappeared off Twitter. A lot of them changed their branding. A lot of them changed their tags, and we never heard from them again. So just like how Chris said, there's ups and downs, just like a crypto chart. That is exactly what life is going to be. So would you rather go through every single risk up and down, or would you rather stay consistent and build yourself consistently along the way? I think that is a much safer play. And over the long term, that is where I would rather dedicate my time to. And then anyway, just to wrap things up, MailChimp and Beehive. If you want some free mail services, go for that. But if you're creating content wrapped specifically around crypto and NFTs, then definitely check out Substack. Now then, Gobsock, we've been waiting for this for 30 minutes. So let's hear it, man. Let's hear it. What's up, brother?
Hey yo. No, thank you for having me up on stage. I really appreciate it. It's been a great conversation. No, I'm just really soaking in like all of the little like tidbits of y'all have been dropping, man, like dropping gems. I love be dropping gems. You just gotta polish them. Like that's like my favorite thing, bro. Like you just gotta take the shit people say, and do what you will with it. I mean, me personally, I'm working on like putting out content on a schedule. And by saying I'm working on figuring out that schedule really, and also just like figuring out like a template for what exactly I want my content to look like, what type of content exactly I'm going to be putting out. Is it memes? Is it videos? Is it IRL? Is it gameplay? You know, so I'm just here soaking in, and y'all are doing a great job and fantastic job of really showing some ways for people to continue going and encouraging us along the way. I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you, Gob. You mentioned scheduling content, and you mentioned gameplay and the nature. So I do. So Gob and I, we know each other. So I personally know that you've been working on a lot of video edits, and I've seen the time and energy that you've put in. So I know about it. the audience doesn't, why don't you quick 30-second elevator pitch? Tell us what you've been working on, bro.
Yo, for sure. Yeah, I've been grinding pretty hard. I've been playing Valorant for like the past year or so. And I finally decided, you know what, I've gotten halfway decent at this game. I will start recording some of the clips I make. And I've been putting them into videos. I've gotten Balza to send me some beats as well as some other dudes. Just some homies, you know, I didn't have to pay for it. I just know them on a personal level. They know me, they support me. And I've been able to put those into my beats, into my videos, you know, have a good backdrop. But just like, I'm just exploring, man. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm having such like a fun time. Like I'm enjoying like being in like that, you know, like that studio vibe, like, you know, like the video editing. Like, bro, the first video I got, like Balza sent me a beat at like 2 a.m. It was like the first beat he sent me, and I was like, bro, this is fire. And I spent 5 hours like cutting the beat, like mixing it, like doing a fade in, fade out, so that I could like, you know, get it on the kills, get the beat drops on the kills, stuff like that. So I'm just enjoying my content, and I'm meeting up with Kokaside today. He's actually moved down to the state that I live in, and doing a lot more IRL content together, as well as for each other. So yeah, just a lot of dope things on the horizon.
Dude, I love that, man. I totally understand what you're talking about when you're like adjusting a piece of music. So when the kill goes down, or when like the punchline goes down, depending on what your content is about, that's when like the heavy beat has to drop. 100% audio is half the video production. So keep on doing what you're doing, bro. And if you like to share your content with the rest of us here in the audience, please feel free to go ahead and pin up your post in the Jumbotron, brother. I know people usually just jump on stage and do that anyway, but for whatever reason, that doesn't happen in our space today. But yeah, go ahead, man. I would love to see it.
Melina, I see
Yeah.
the eagerness. She's like, I'm being polite, but she's ready to go. Let's go.
So this is what I realized, and I only realized this because I've been a content creator for over 10 years. Chris has been doing this work for a long time. But you know what, Chris? You know what I realized that was super crucial, that I think a lot of creators forget this part. The part is figuring out who your audience is. Because when we're creators, we're all about like, well, this is what I like to do. I want to show memes. I want to throw a GM. I want to do this. But you know what? What does your audience want? Because as a content creator, you're not actually doing content for yourself. You're doing content to reach a like-minded community, right? Like that is your end goal. There's no one that's creating content because like I like to look at myself. Like nobody.
That's why
Right?
I do it. What are you talking about? Okay.
But I want to go back to Gobsock and be like, this is my question. And it's a genuine question because I really want creators, because we forget this all the time. I remember when I first launched my Instagram, I was like, what are my brand colors? Oh my God, what is it going to look like? How pretty is it going to be? And you know what? That doesn't matter, because you're the person who's going to buy from you doesn't give a crap if you're pink, purple, yellow, blue. They don't, right? So I just want creators to think about this the next time they're like, I want to create all this content, because what leads to content creation burnout is when you are not clear as to what it is you are doing. Like, what is your goal? So I want people to ask themselves, well, who am I trying to attract? If I were to give a talk, what are those 100 people about? What do they love to do? What do they do on weekends for fun? What are the types of books they're reading? What's the type of content what do they like? Do they like short form video, or they're like, hey, I'm all about a 15-minute YouTube video, right? And once you figure out who your ideal customer is, it's going to get a lot easier to think about that. It's just going to flow, because you're going to start thinking about your target audience a lot more than who am I? Because half of the time, we're also targeting the wrong audience on the wrong platform. And that is what affects a lot of creators. And the last thing I want to be seeing in this bear market is more burnout, right? Like I myself had to tone it down with the crypto stuff, because I was like, okay, it's quiet. I don't need to overhype nothing. I'm going to keep doing what I do best, which is helping creators, but I'm not leaving crypto but my content is going to reflect the people I want in my corner. So no, I do not want to be called the crypto news girl. I want to be called the crypto content creator girl. That's what I want to be. So I had to go back and hone in on who am I trying to attract? And I'm only saying this because I hear Gobs and I'm like, this is all the creators in my hub right now. That's what they think. They're like, I want to do this. I want to, it's like, okay, well, it's not about you. It's about who you're trying to attract. So I hope that resonates with some people, because of this exact example that I'm giving, which is it's going to lead you to burning out because you're not going to see the results. You're not talking to the right customer and you're not on the right platform. You're just going to give up. And the last thing we all want, this is the reason why we've done this space today. We want to amplify creators. We need creators in this space. We need more voices. And that's the last thing I want to see is more people leaving. I want you to stay, but I want you to love creating content. And the only way you're going to love it is when you start figuring out who you're trying to talk to.
Love it. Ooh, and our guy Bossa does such a good job of knowing who he's talking to, and the people that like Gundam, even to the point where they'd go get a Gundam head and drink coffee out of it. And every
Jesus.
time he shows up, he's there because he's got his sound effect, his shing. And I see Matt, and he's got a dope Gundam looking character, but I don't got a shing. I got some lightsabers, bro. So with that, Matt, what's up?
I don't know if anyone was on the spaces where I made the joke about Boss's sound, but if I could get a heart in the chat, if you were, I'd love to see that. Okay, so like only 2 people. All right, so the joke is, so next time you tune in Brick by Brick and he plays that sound, it's actually him and his Gundam taking a Viagra and getting good.
Getting a shing.
So just the shing. That's just listen to it and you'll know, and then you'll laugh your ass off. Anyway, so I want to make a couple of points that some folks brought up but didn't really elaborate on. And I think it's an interesting point, right? So you understand your demographic, but how do you do that, right? So God Talk, I will use you as an example, right? So if I was you, what I would personally do is I would go find a good, let's say 5 different people that are streaming Valor on a daily basis and really attracting a nominal crowd, and then watch how much like those crowds are interacting with them, and then understand why are they interacting with them, because it is good to understand an audience, but how you do that, I think we still haven't hit that. The best way that you can do that is obviously there's tools and resources out there that I think you can use that help automate that side of things, but watching how the interactions happen within those videos and within that content definitely makes a lot of sense. The other side of things that I would recommend is like add a personal touch to it, right? Like one of the biggest things, at least for me, watching streamers, like they don't stream on camera. It just doesn't feel as personable. So I don't interact with them as much and like don't get to see those like expressions, It's always nice, in my opinion, to get that personal side of things, that little bit of edge, kind of like what Chris and Ice are doing with the live streams. I think that's an awesome touch. And listen, the biggest thing too, and Gabi, we've talked about this quite a bit, but like for everyone that's out there that's trying to create content, that's trying to drive users to their platform or drive users to their base, you just need accountability and have someone hold you accountable and make sure you're moving the right steps forward and that you can bounce ideas off of someone that's not going to like, take your idea and run with it before you get the ability to execute. I think it's absolutely crucial. So yeah, that'd be my take.
Dude, Matt, have you seen that editing? And actually, this is for Gobsock as well. Harris Heller is a kick ass. Like he's just one of the dopest content creators specifically for like the gaming ecosystem and all that. But he always does this little shill for an AI editor that will take your gameplay footage of all these pre-selected games, and it'll actually like take your best moments. So it'll find the whole stream, it'll find all the headshots, all of the different little like cool moments, and it fucking clips them and it does all this, and this shit is free. Yeet.
Yeah, you need to go
crazy.
check that out. Like
that is
immediately.
I'm gonna find it.
Insane. Holy shit.
I'll send it over to you, Gobsock. Yeah.
And there's plenty of tools like that too, right? Like it probably takes like 10 Google searches to find like freaking 50 different analytics tools in order to understand your demographic. But people just don't know what to look for or how to look for it. And I just like, you gotta everyone's got to take baby steps, right? And I think that's definitely a first step forward for everyone.
Yeah, Ice has an example of this on the Espresso Shot. We stream it on Tuesdays, so tomorrow morning. Definitely make sure you chime in for that. And here's how the AI would work in that situation. It would watch Ice the whole time, and he doesn't say shit the whole time. And then all of a sudden he unmics and he just drops a badass value bomb, and then he stops talking for the rest of the stream. And then the AI would just clip that little content and then post that. But because we don't have AI, Ice does that manually, and you you can always know what he said in that whole long space because it's the only thing that's like clippable, and he posts up, and it's not just nonsense. So
it's not my fault, man. The stream is like 2 hours long, and then like an hour and 55 minutes is just Sansa blabbing about how his morning coffee and how his wife's doing. So yo, man, it's I do what I can. I do what I can. But here, how's that for a segue? But but thank you, Melina. You mentioned something so good earlier, and that is like knowing your audience. I've heard this in many different iterations in different ways that people have been saying it. NFT God Alex, he's a great inspiration to me as well. And what he says, which falls exactly in line with what you're saying, which is knowing your audience. It comes down to three main things. The first thing is like, what are you good at? Like, what are you genuinely good at? And then secondly, what do you like doing? Because they're not the same thing. What you're good at and what you like is not the same thing. But thirdly, where do you find your audience? What does the market demand? Because if any of these three pillars are lost at any point, that is what leads to what you said, burnout. So at all times when we create content, we really need to have these three questions at the back of our mind. And every single day, I encourage all of you guys in the audience, go back to the drawing board, find things to add to these three pillars, because the moment you run out of things for these three pillars, that is when you're going to get very, very close to burning out. And I just heard a really loud notification going on in my ear. What's going on?
I'm sorry.
Why was that so loud? That was
I don't know, dude. Here's the thing. I got my Rodecaster hooked up, and anything that happens on my phone is just blast through. So we just brought up Lack right now.
Oh, gotcha,
I did want to talk about things that we're not good at really quick. You see in the bottom right-hand corner where it says 3 on the comments? I am trash at asking for engagement or sharing or commenting or any of those things. So I need to get better at that and kind of, help us grow these spaces even more with that. But without going further about what I suck at, 12 minutes from now, we're going to shut this bad boy down. And I did want to thank everybody who's joined us so far. But I want to say, if you got a question, come up now or wait a week. I don't know. Or join us tomorrow for Espresso Shot. Anyway, Lack, I'd love to hear from you. What's up?
What is good, my friend? I had a quick question about I was doing something with my dog, but you were saying something about a free tool for AI. Like,
was it the real tool that Chris was talking about the kills, or was it the fake tool that he was talking about, which is just me working away behind my computer for 10 hours? Because that was a joke.
Ice actually comes free with every spaces that you join.
You just have to host it and put him on camera, and he'll do all the editing.
Oh, awesome!
The package
cool.
deal.
About NFT God, I am actually in the middle of taking his content creation master course. If anyone here wants to take it, let me know. I'll send you a link.
She's gonna shill you her affiliate code. Hey, that actually brings up a really good thing.
To eat.
Yeah, no, hey, that honestly, Lack, like, let's talk about this really quick. One of the ways that you can build revenue streams and show up and make content, even if you're just starting out, like, you don't have to be a master or have a master class or a course or a membership or any of that. You could just be joining one like Lack is, and you could say, this is what I'm learning. If you want to follow along my content journey and watch what I'm learning, then subscribe to the channel, then follow me, turn on notifications, whatever you want to do the shout out. And if you're interested in learning the same stuff I'm learning, here's my affiliate code. Like, that's just so natural. And that's a revenue stream that you can create out of nowhere. Or you bought a new microphone and you're like, hey, here's an Amazon link for the same microphone. Like, so it's a good thing to do for sure.
it's funny because I looked at my affiliate page and I shockingly got 2 signups like during
Hell
the
yeah.
pre-sale. But I wanted to add, yes, the 3 things that you said are important for him. But the main thing is using your flaws and personal stories in almost everything that you do. Like to add, so so the reader gets to know you first of all, but like can relate to you.
I do agree. I think having like we're so used to seeing success stories or wins and profits and yada yada. I think we're so used to seeing this kind of positivity in the space that people have this like preconceived notion that if we don't have wins, we're not going to post about it. If we're not doing success, then nobody wants to see it, and that's just not true. As a matter of fact, as to what Lack just said, and what Alex preaches, being personable, sharing your vulnerable moments, showing your losses, it puts you in a much more relatable position, because when at the end of the day, no matter what you see on Spaces or X or social media, there's more L's than W's going out there. We just don't see it. So yeah, I think this is something that
I mean, the only way to learn is to fail. But it's funny because I asked him, I'm like, all my personal shit I think is a little dark. Not dark, but like it's sad. I don't know. Like I'm home right now waiting on my 4th spinal fusion. I haven't worked since 2016. And whatever. But just, like personal shit that goes on. It's all my question is like where do you cut it when it's too personal? Like, do you know what I mean? You don't
I
want to share
think there's
everything.
I think there's a certain level of it that it looks like this. If there was a story where it was like, here's the hero and here's what they're trying to do, and then they did it, the end.
Right.
Like that's a shitty story, right? So
Yeah.
I think starting with something, just look at like the 3-part story and like where you could break down where the person that's going through it is trying to achieve something and then they're always met with an obstacle. And I think your personal struggles and the hard stuff that you're going through that makes you relatable, that's where you can talk about like the struggle on all this, right? And there's actually a second real more important layer to all this stuff that I'll end with, but the most important part is like, yes, you are going to you're going to struggle, and so you can share that and make yourself relatable. But if 2/3 of the book was about the struggle, it would not be, again, a great story, because it would be so much about the struggle, right? So people want to know that the struggle exists, and then it's, well, what are you going to do about it? How are you overcoming this? Or you're still writing your story. But here's like the deeper layer, and this is the harder thing for people to think about, especially when they're going through something really, really hard, is that if you're writing a story that's for other people, you can't be the hero. The story's not about you. It never is. The story is about them. Like the story has to be about how this applies to them. And so if it's so much about you and you're always making yourself the hero, then I gotta say, we know what that looks like. And we think those people are jackasses when they're always talking themselves up.
Oh
or
my
they're
God,
saying
there's
all
one
that.
girl in the Discord that I invited into the Discord, and it's always me, and I'm
Right.
just like, shut the fuck up already.
So
Nobody cares
that's
that
the
you worked out
struggle.
200 days in a row. Like I worked out I broke my spine from working out because I worked out too quick after one of my fusions. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
But I mean,
sorry.
I think you'll like have to work through that. That's going to be a hard thing for you to take the you out of it, but leave enough of it in there that you're relatable with other people, but making it about them instead of making it more about your specific story. Because I get it. Like, I want to share about me nonstop. That's who
No,
I
but
am.
I'm the opposite. I have zero me in any of my stuff.
Well, I think that that's probably going to be better for you than if you were full of yourself like me, because I have
No.
to
I
turn
mean,
it around and
look who's
flip it.
successful and look who's not.
Well, hey, listen, I think the fact that you have any self-awareness about this is a good thing, and you're learning from good people that are doing what you want to be doing. So I do honestly think that that's a kick-ass position to be in. And I'm also gonna rug this shit no matter what in 4 minutes because I got shit to
Wait,
do.
I
But
just have to tell you, there's one thread I need you all to read, and it's by this guy Default. He has an ape. I think it's a Basie.
link
Anyone
it.
know?
Yeah,
Link
can you
it.
pin in the Jumbotron lack?
Yeah,
Lack.
I'm gonna
Link it up.
It's literally the best thread I've ever written in my ever read in my entire existence. Hold on.
Well, I'm not going to hold on. I'm going to go to MGBM because we're going to close this shit. I'm not lying. And I can't even do it. Last week I tried to do it and then I just dipped out of the space while the music was going because I'm not used to it not being me hosting the space. It was ice. So we're going to coordinate the rugging of this in 3 minutes.
Yeah, totally.
So that being said, MGBM, it's over to you.
I like a limit of 3 minutes. So basically, I'm a flow artist, and I've been a part of this for a couple of years. And obviously, have no fears. Have the ideas, see what appears, look for the upgrade that could be made, and obviously learn to persuade other people to come in. This is all about drumming up the fun, and that it's begun. I've seen it basically with many people that are selling their NFT through either PFP or art. From the start, it's just about scoring rapport, getting to know more people along the way, make some friends around the bends. It never ends. Obviously, I write my blends. There's a lot of positivity that I put into the electricity. It's what I want people to see. Have a look. There is a link tree. There's plenty that I've seen. There's the magazine, and following the theme, obviously, there's people that put on exhibits and stuff like that. So just come along and chat. I like to tap this way. This is how I play night and day. Fear my NFT, he's a bit of an OG. So if you want to learn about AI, just speak to that guy. And obviously, if you want to learn to try to learn on the fly how to rhyme all the time, just read each line that I write. It's there. Obviously, I do share that this is like maladaptive daydreaming, so it's sort of something linking to unconditional thinking. So I've possibly got bipolar, so things come in a rise and then a fall. But I like to give it my all. This is my call and my scroll. I like to just finish off quickly. Don't be a loon racing to the moon. Be amongst the stars and fly straight past Mars. And the smartest of artists, you have come to the market. You're early, so have a quick look because the pages of my book, part 1, the start, where the beginning of my singing is still bringing in 7 left because I just carried on making more parts. That's where it all starts, and that's where I go. Thank you for the show, Chris. Been listening in and listening. I'm a man on a mission. Just have some ambition and show what your decision was and where you're going, and keep showing, and you'll be growing.
Bro, that was a beautiful sandcastle. I have no idea what you just said, but it sounded dope the whole time, and I appreciate it. And it's a good clippable moment. I say we send that
because I found the thread. Sorry, go on.
Oh, good. Yeah, look at that. You bought Lack just the perfect amount of time. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna clip that. We're gonna post that up later. Lack's gonna have her post. She's gonna put that up, and then other people can benefit from that. And I'm gonna ask Melina, any closing thoughts to this beautiful space that we just had for 90 minutes?
I'm still so bullish on the fact that people want to learn how to create, that people want to create, that people have this interest of even potentially, leaving their jobs, right? Their 9-to-5s for this side hustle to grow. I think at the end of the day, it's so important to stick with people that you feel like you vibe with, that you connect with, like whether it's NFT God or myself or anybody else. It has to make sense for you. I think there's no harm in getting some sort of coaching and whatnot. Like, right, we're hearing from others saying, hey, I'm learning from NFT God. I think it's great. I think we can only, at this point, nobody in no schools, in no the best education, nobody's teaching this in a classroom. So there's no shame in getting help online and helping people. And you not only help a creator, but you amplify yourself as well. So I would encourage anyone, if the best way to start is to also invest in yourself. And I'm just gonna leave this as positive as I possibly can. I'm just so excited for when we're not going to be in a bear, to be able to see the new creators come out with their content, come out, showcase everything they're doing. And I will say, there is no perfect date to start. That's how I'm going to end this. There is no perfect date to start. I encourage each and every one of you to tweet something out today, to post that picture of yourself, to undox yourself, whatever it is. Do it today, because tomorrow you will get better. And that's your goal. Your goal is always to get better. It's not to be perfect when you start, because that's almost impossible. So just have a sucky day one. I'm calling this the content creation cringe era. Allow yourself to be cringy and be weird. Make sure your mom doesn't get it, because if she doesn't get it, you're doing it absolutely right. So that's what I'm going to leave you with.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love that. Hey, and she didn't say it, so I'll say it for Melina is actually a kick-ass person that you could go to for some coaching. So check out her stuff, click on her profile, dig in a little bit. And it's always better when somebody else shouts you out about the awesome value that you bring, instead of yourself just shouting out from the rooftops, hey, I'm really good at all this stuff. Having said that, I want to go over to my man Ice, because he's always pumping out the value as well. Ice, closing thoughts, my man.
Closing thoughts. I got to do this real fast because we're already 60 seconds over the timer, or 120 seconds over the timer. So anyways,
for the people, so that we keep it timely. Like, I'm not really going to rug it right in the middle of some talking.
Oh no, I'm totally going to rug it. Like, my finger is right here, ready to hit that end button. But no, thank you for plugging Melina back in, because I was going to ask her. Yeah, she's totally a creator coach. If we want to follow your advice and we want to sign up, where can we find your stuff? Chris already alluded to it. Please check out her profile. I assume there is a link somewhere in the call to action that we can sign up for your course. She's nodding. Okay, so that is a yes. So please, guys, check out Girl in the Verse. Subscribe to her, follow her. Know what's good. Get better at content creation. All right, I am going to wrap things up. And Chris, you can play us out with the music momentarily. But just for a couple of takeaway points before we head out, just remember, guys, what are you good at? What do you like doing? Who is your audience? Please remember that. Build on it every single day. And 3 pieces of platforms that Melina also gave advice on to start your own newsletter. MailChimp, it's free. Beehive is free. Substacks for NFT and crypto, I think it's free. Not okay. Sorry, it is free. So please go ahead and check that out. And yeah, just as content creators, we all want to be bigger. We all want to do better. We all want to get our voices heard, and we also want the ability to change other people's minds on the topic that they might not be as well versed in. So on that note, I'm going to have a short little social experiment that will be less than 30 seconds, and then Chris, please play us out. And so people in the audience, members at home, or whoever listening to this on the post YouTube clip, think of a number between 2 and 8. Multiply that number by 9. Now, add those 2 digits together. -5. Now, think of that letter in the alphabet. So if your number is 1, then it's an A. If it's 2, it's B. Okay? Got it? Now, think of a country that begins with that letter. Take the last letter of that country. Think of an animal. Now take the last letter of the animal and think of a color. Denmark, kangaroo, orange. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. If that was what you thought, then you got to drop a like, comment, and subscribe to that.
Denmark, kangaroo, orange. That's
hell yeah. There we go. Now you, whoever just said that, you guys owe us 10 ETH each. Thank you for coming on today's show. We love y'all, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
I got lost.
Oh man. All right. Bye, guys.
And I never been embraced.
All right, close it.
The money's hard to make. So I bet they on their face.